because we were at the hotel and we were leaving that day. So like, we literally watched it. And as soon as they picked us, we didn't even get to finish watching the selection show. We went straight to the airport. So we didn't care who we played. We didn't care about none of that. It was more just like we just won this championship in 4 games in 4 days. Like, so we were just just amped off of that, to be honest.
Yeah, the ones that hate me the most look just like me. You tell me what that means. Make a slick comment and see what that brings. I've seen it go down, we can reenact things. Extreme like BMXing. These boys, people in the city see the movement occurring and say, my God, I wanna be in that scene. Can't touch me, I got instincts. Locked in the house, but I'm plotting things.
Lofton with his team down by 2 to the corner. Caputo! No good! And it's over! St. Louis is going dancing. An unlikely run. Tying his career high. Dribbles it out. And here they come. The student section scores the Cardinals at St. Louis. Possession game. Mitchell. Cassidy. Ellis.
Got to get a shot off. It's got to be a 3.
Ellis. Mitchell for the tie. Got it!
Oh! Runner off the glass, no. Tip battle loose. Evans is absolutely decked by Gant. Evans stays in the game. Oh,
Speaking of level,
Conklin leveled Wilcox, and he's down for the count. Driving Evans for Conklin layup. Good whistle foul. Count the basket. You want to play rough? You want to play rough? Let's play.
Assume they're not going to foul you. Just take it right to the rim. Goodwin, 2 for the tie, 3 for the win. Goodwin takes it in, and he got it. We're tied. Overtime. Here we come.
Welcome to the House that Rick Built podcast with your hosts, Colin Kessler and Zach Miller. This show is sponsored by Mortgage Partners Group, where mortgage solutions are made simple.
Timeout on the floor, 68-46 St. Louis. This is Billiken basketball.
Welcome back to the House that Rick Built podcast, brought to you by Mortgage Partners Group, where mortgage solutions are made simple. Give Jason a call at 314-422-0649. Back with another interview, Zach. It's been a while, but joined as always by my co-host, Zach Miller. How are you doing?
Doing all right, live in living color from beautiful Destin, Florida. So it's beautiful outside, so I'm excited to be inside talking to you guys.
Yeah,
to you and our guest.
Our guest. You really went off the reservation out there, going out to Destin, Florida, out in the boonies. I thought you were going to be waiting for a preseason tournament, but unfortunately that's not the case. But we won't dwell on the negatives of now. Zach, you want to go ahead and introduce our guest for this episode?
Sure. It seems like we're doing we're counting up on jersey numbers. We got number 3, again from your 18-19 Atlantic 10 tournament champions. He is pound for pound one of the best leaders the Billikens have ever had as a senior, especially. We've got the man, the myth, the legend, Javon Bess on the podcast. Javon, how's it going?
What's up, man? How you guys doing?
Doing all right.
Doing all right. Yep.
Yeah, same answer every time.
Excited to have you on. So, I mean, we'll jump right into it. So you grew up in Ohio, and you moved in with your aunt and uncle in 8th grade, and then attended Pinkerton High School, won the state title with Pinkerton as a sophomore, then moved back to Gahanna, Ohio with your parents, and then enrolled in Lincoln High, where you went for 18-7. Talk about kind of the transition you made there to Pinkerton, and then the decision to go back.
Yeah, so I went to not a ton of schools, but I went to a few different schools. But 8th grade, so after 8th grade, I went out to Pickerington. I went out to Pickerington Central with a couple of my friends. We all went out to school out there, and Yeah, I moved with my uncle and my aunt, and it was just easier for my family. Every way for basketball was easier. For my family dynamic, it was easier. So it was just the best fit for me at that moment, and it was fun. And I already knew people out there. Columbus it's not too big. It's a big city, but it's not too big. So I already knew a lot of people that was at Pickerington and everything, and it was an easy transition for me.
Yeah, Columbus especially I think has a special place in Billiken fans' hearts from the 2012 NCAA tournament, where obviously they lost to the school you would eventually transfer from, Michigan State.
Mm-hmm.
But you received interest from Dayton, UMass, Duke, and others, but committed to Michigan State. What was it about Tom Izzo's program that drove you to commit there initially?
It was just like when I was talking to him, it was just like a real family oriented thing. It was a good fit for me going in there, and it seemed like everything was just right for me, and it actually was. It actually was. Like, I still have a good relationship with Coach Izzo and all the staff. I talk to him a lot still, so it was a good fit for me.
You broke your foot your freshman year, and you missed 10 games. Do you think that set you back? I mean, obviously it would set anybody back, but do you think that kind of started the ball rolling to where you end up transferring eventually?
Yeah, for sure, because I broke it twice. I broke it twice while I was there. So I broke it like a week before the first game, maybe a week or two before the first game. Then tried to come out. I was trying to come back. I was excited because I knew I was going to play and everything. So I was like trying to come back, came back too soon, played 10 games, then broke it again. So, in those 10 games I played, it was still broke. It never healed. So it was still broke. It just got worse. So, yeah, after that, it was just like, then I missed, then we was real cautious with it. So I wasn't able to do nothing from like the end of January. I think I got the surgery, the second one, like the end of January until August. So I wasn't able to work out the whole summer. And then going to my sophomore year, I still played. I still started for, half the season and stuff, but I just wasn't myself. I knew like, okay, I didn't really get to work on my game. My foot still bothers me some. So I knew that year off would help me transferring and then being able to sit out a year.
Obviously we're Billiken fans and Billiken podcasters. So, didn't want to spend too much time on your Michigan State time. But I do have it's funny. I'm looking at the schedule from 2015-16, and you actually got a taste of St. Louis in the NCAA tournament, and when you guys were upset by Middle Tennessee State. How'd you? I mean, did you get to see the area at all, or were you guys kind of hunkered down? Or
no, what's crazy is we was kind of hunkered down, but like the hotel we stayed at, like when I was with Michigan State, we stayed at the hotel. I think it was the Hyatt, the room right in front of the Arch. We stayed at the Hyatt. I came with my official to St. Louis maybe a month later, or however month or two later, and I stayed at the Hyatt again. So that was a little funny to me, though, coincidence. But like, yeah, we got to actually we did we practiced at WashU and was it Fontbonne maybe? We practiced when I was in Michigan. We practiced at WashU for sure one time, and I think we practiced at Fontbonne too. So that was the only thing.
No, sorry.
No,
when I was doing research on that Middle Tennessee State team, that team has probably the greatest collection of names, like just weird names that I've ever seen.
Sure.
Like you got guys like Giddy Potts, Perrin Buford, Reggie Upshaw, which is pretty normal, but Jagon Raymond, Aldonis Foote, Carl Gamble, Quavius Copeland, and Xavier Habersham. I just thought that was really funny. Did you guys have any kind of laugh over that when you guys were doing film, or?
Nah, it wasn't no laughing during film. When it was there, yeah, it wasn't no laughing. But nah, we didn't even. That's not even. I didn't even realize that. I knew Giddy Potts. I remember that name, Giddy Potts, because he was a shooter. He like led the country in 3-point percentage or something like that, or second or something. So,
when you're looking at transferring, you first committed to Akron and then decommitted and came to SLU. What happened there?
Well, it wasn't even. It was more like I wasn't really committing there. You know, it wasn't like a official thing. And then you know how it got out and stuff like that. But it wasn't something where I was like, all right, I'm about to go to Akron. So that situation was a little funny. But like I said, I think I picked the right. I definitely picked the right place and going to Salute for sure.
We agree with that statement.
Yeah, I think a lot of fans would.
When being recruited by Travis Ford, what were some of the similarities and differences you saw between him and Coach Izzo?
To be honest, really one and the same almost. It almost one and the same. Really, very, very similar. Very similar. So it was like and like I say, I still got a good relationship with Coach Izzo. So it was like, okay, this really the right fit because he was the type of coach that I like and that a type of coach that'll get me better and bring out my full potential.
How is he as a salesman? Because one of the things that Tremaine touched on a lot was his ability to sell, what was it, water to a boat or something like that? I mean, is that kind of just his personality, or is he just really personable and therefore you're kind of just drawn to that?
Yeah, it's both. It was both for sure. Coach Ford can definitely sell whatever Tremaine said. Yeah, he can definitely do that. But it was both. He was real personal. It was both, man. It was good energy, good vibes and stuff. So I just felt the connection there off rip, like right away.
You came into that team that redshirt year. Guys like Mike Crawford was a senior, Reggie Agbeko was a senior. What were those guys like as leaders when you rolled into town?
Oh, they was great. And the thing was, even more embarrassing, they was great people. You know, Reggie was a great person. Mike was a great person. And Roby too. You know, that was my roommate for 2 years. That's like one of my best friends. So, you know, it was good just being around them, you know, being around good people, you know, going from transferring, you may think, oh, I'm going into a different situation or I'm coming from a different school. I don't know if people you know, how they're going to react, but everybody reacted good to me coming. And like I said, they were good people. So it was easy to get along with them.
We have a kind of a famous, not a famous story, but we had a good story about there was a Greek walk-on under Majerus, and and there was a funny story about how he did things a little differently because the plumbing is a little bit rougher in Greece than it is in St. Louis, so they use the toilet a different way. Anyway,
Yeah.
anything funny about Marcos that kind of like any funny story about Marcos, like maybe kind of fish out of water, anything like that?
With Marcos, not really. Only thing he used to foul all the time in practice. That's the only thing he used to foul so much.
Well, that's because he couldn't keep you in front of him.
Marcos was a hack. He used to foul everybody. That's the only really funny thing. But he's good people though. I like Marcos.
Any good stories roommating with DeVell?
Man, I got so many stories with DeVell, man. I got so many different stories with DeVell, man. Let me think of one that I can say on here. Man.
Like going out or anything like that, going out to the bar, anything?
It was time. I remember a couple of times we go out or something and he don't even make it out. He'd be in his room. We getting ready to leave. He'd be in his room with all his clothes on in bed, sleep before we supposed to even leave. We don't even get to go. That happened a couple times.
Man, he just couldn't hang.
Yeah, he couldn't hang.
Sorry.
Let's talk about your redshirt year. Your first year that you're at SLU, obviously you have to redshirt with a transfer. You talked about it being at Michigan State and you have the injury with the foot. You're trying to get that back to 100%. What was kind of your redshirt year like as, your relationship with the team, with Coach Ford, and trying to get yourself better? What were you doing to get healthy, to stay healthy, and to improve your game as well?
Yeah, so for the most part, Coach Ford was already telling me before I even committed, like that redshirt year was just to get my whole confidence back. Like just because it's hard playing when you playing on a broken foot for 2 seasons, basically a season and a half, and you really can't do the things you want to do. So it was just about getting my confidence back and getting back to being myself and then improving. So my thing was shooting. So shooting, and that was the thing. Took me a couple of years, but it's still, at the end of the day, it ended up helping my senior year. But, it was a progression thing. Like we went from wasn't really shooting that many jumpers when I first got here at all. Then my sit-out year is talking about. Then my junior year, shot more. And then my senior I actually shot good, and I shot a lot of threes. So that was the biggest thing we wanted to work on throughout that sit-out year.
I one thing that always stood out when you would take a 3-point shot, especially, is kind of the effortless shooting kind of style you had, and didn't really jump very high on your jump shot. Is that something that kind of came about here in St. Louis, or is that something you've always done?
I think it kind of, I would say both, because my so after my junior year, that's when I got with me and Coach Bailey really like, and one of our OGA with BP, we kind of really like try to improve on my shot, knowing that going into my senior year, that was going to be my best chance of, doing things as a pro, like being a pro. So we changed the shot. I was shooting like kind of from the left side to the middle of my body. So I kind of put it to the right. And then I was shooting so many shots on the gun. And like on the gun, you can't really jump as high every shot, especially because it's a fast pace. So that's probably why I wasn't really, or it seemed like I wasn't really jumping high on my jumpers.
You finally gain eligibility, I guess, not gain, but you're finally eligible your junior year. And you put together a very competitive season with the Bills. I mean, the Bills did in general, especially given that it was, pretty early in the transition over to the Travis Ford era. You went 13-7, and you were all defensive team for a team that went 17-16. What do you attribute kind of the defensive prowess on that team to? Or I guess your coming out party as a defensive stopper.
Yeah. Well, I've always been a good defender. That's probably like, even since I was young, that's always been one thing that I could hang my head on. If I couldn't do anything else, I knew I could defend. Like when I was younger, I always played on like good teams. So, for me to play, I knew I had to do something good. So that was always something that I can do. And then after like going to Michigan State and then playing for Coach Ford and Coach Izzo, like I just learned different things to make it easier for myself, doing something I already felt like I was good at doing. Just learning different things from them just made me go over the top, I feel like.
Talk about that Virginia Tech game. You guys played them in Madison Square Garden. I just remember being very, very excited to see you guys pull that game out. Talk to me about that game, going into the game, and then kind of the reaction of the team after the game.
It was just like that whole season. We had a tough team that year. Like our team we knew we was undermanned, but like everybody was tough and nobody was scared of nobody that we played. So we knew just going out there, we're just gonna do what we do. We're gonna play how we play. We didn't shoot at. We shot terrible that year, like from three and stuff. But we knew that wasn't our game, so we hung our head on offensive rebounds, defense, playing hard, and be the harder player team every day. So going to that game, we knew that's what we had to do. We just had to play harder, And beginning of the game, I think Roby ended up getting in foul trouble. He was our best shooter that year. He ended up getting in foul trouble. So, me and Jordan kind of just was like, all right, we got to go. We don't want to lose this game. I think they got out to a big lead early too. So we was just like, we're not going to get embarrassed at Madison Square Garden of all places, on national television. So we just bunkered down and just played harder.
You talked about the mindset of that team, and I was really curious real quick, because that's something I feel like would be an interesting talking point. We as Billiken fans see it from the outside looking in. You change head coaches. Travis Ford comes in. He has to redevelop an entire new recruiting, class and build up his program the way he wants it to look. You come in as a redshirt junior, or I guess as a junior redshirting your year off, and you get a chance to bond with this team and see what it's really like. And then you get that first year you're playing. Can you kind of tell us what the progression of mindset is like to the point where you are looking at games like that tough mindset that I think has defined Travis Ford's team?
Yeah, I think really, like, to be honest, I feel like when I came here, and we already had, already had guys like DeVale and Mike and Reggie and those guys. But like when I came here, like even meeting with Coach Ford and meeting with Chris May and on my visit, like that was one thing that stuck out to me about Coach Ford. He wanted to be the harder playing team. And that was me. That's the type of player I was. That's what I hung my hat on. And I told him that too. Like, I want to bring a championship to St. Louis, and I'm gonna do it by just being the best leader that I can be for this team and to change the culture of this team. We want to be a hard playing team, a team that when they step on the court, like teams kind of fear you. That's what we wanted. That's what we wanted our mindset to be for, every game. And like I said, I think we built that before I even actually committed. When me and Coach Ford was just talking, we was just building our relationship.
I wanted to talk about one person specifically. Actually, there's three people on that team I really want to talk about, but the first being the one who left, Jalen Johnson. He played big minutes this season and did well against Virginia Tech. 7 points on 1 of 3 from 3 and 1 of 1 from inside the arc. Why do you think he decided to move on from St. Louis University?
I'm not sure. And yeah, I kept up with his stats a lot this past season too. I kept up with him with some of his games and stuff, and he had a good season. But I don't know. He probably felt like he had to do what was best for him, and you can't fault somebody for doing what they think is best.
Yeah, it always seemed like he had a good shot, and I mean he would have been big, I think, on this last year's team, especially given his position and his ability.
Yeah.
What was it like playing with Aaron Hines? I mean, a guy who just a tireless worker, worked his ass off to move from a walk on to a scholarship player.
Yeah. Playing with Aaron was good because he's a St. Louis kid, so you knew he was gonna go out there and play hard every night because he's playing in the city that he's from. So, I feel like it's a different level of confidence, a different level of hunger you gotta have when you're playing in your city that you're from, because you're gonna have all your fans there. Everybody's gonna talk about you if you play bad or if you play good. So we knew every night that he was gonna play as hard as he could. And I feel like he was a great teammate. He made big shots for us, huge shots for us in some big games. So yeah, I definitely like playing with Aaron.
The next night, I believe, the next night you guys take on Providence. What happened in that game? Was it just kind of a letdown from a big win the night before, or was Providence just that good, or what kind of?
I
do you
think
remember?
Providence did have a good team. They had a good team. It was definitely, we felt like we could win the game though, for sure. We thought we could win that game, but I just felt like they was the better man that night. They beat us that night. We did some stuff that hurt us. But at the end of the day, I just feel like they were just a better team that night. But if we could have played them again, we would beat them. So I don't think it was like something spectacular that they did or just us being tired, because they played the day before too. So it was just, I think they just was the better team that night.
You guys went on and lost to Butler a couple weeks later by 30 at Hinkle.
Yeah.
As a leader, I'm sorry to
Yeah.
do that to you.
We got them back though. We got them back. We got them back when they came to shake us. When they came to shake us, we got them back.
What, as a leader, what do you kind of do in response to a game like that where your team takes a beating, for lack of a better word?
Yeah, man. That game was, like, first of all, I think we only played 6 people. I think because Hassan was hurt, and we, like you guys know, we was already undermanned that whole season. So we was only playing, I think, 8 people the whole season. But
Yep.
And then I think Hassan didn't play that game, so we was playing 7 people, and that was just something that after the game, the crazy part is after the game we had a team meeting. We did. When we got back to St. Louis, we had a team meeting, and we was just more or less calling each other out. Just it was all good though. It was all good energy. Just trying to figure out like what we got to do, because at the end of the day, that's embarrassing. That doesn't matter how much players you got, like, but you can't lose by that many points. Even though Hinkle was a tough place to play in, it was just more or less embarrassing. So we just hashed everything out, figured out how we could come together more, how we can play together more, and stuff like that. And so that's what we did after that game.
Yeah, you see college teams lose. They'll lose big unexplainably, and then they'll come back and kind of. I think it's just the kind of this thing that goes along with playing 18 to 21-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
A good game for you. You had against VCU. You lost an OT. At any time you play well against VCU, it's a good thing. You led all scorers with 20 points. Talk about that game.
I think I made 10 free throws straight, then missed the one to win the game because we was down. We was up 3. I was at the free throw line. I had made 10 free throws straight that game, I think, or 9 straight or 10 straight, one of the two, and then I missed it. And then that only put us up. We were still up 3, and they came down and hit a 3 to send it in overtime, and then we ended up losing. But yeah, that was a hard one to swallow for me. That's probably one of the games in my whole career ever playing like that I just couldn't believe, just because like, and I missed shots. I missed the shot against Dayton at Dayton that year. I missed a few shots, big shots like that, but it was just like I made 10 free throws straight. Like I don't even think I touched the rim on them, but then the one that would have put us up 4 to where it would have been a 2-possession game, I missed. So that was a tough one. That was a tough pill to swallow that day.
Since we're talking free throws, we might as well go there. Tell what the overarching problem of Billiken free throws, and then specifically, what do you think Hassan has to do to fix his shot?
Just listen to himself. Just listen to himself. Go shoot the free throw the way he wants to shoot it, and shoot it the same way every time. He might miss. He's going to probably miss a lot at first, but just keep doing it. Just keep doing it your way. Just keep doing it how you do it, however it feels comfortable for you. Just you in the room. Just keep doing it his way and don't change it. Don't listen to nobody. Just do. I'm not saying with his whole game, just the free throw, just his free throw. Just listen to himself and just go relax and go shoot his free throws. Like that's the only advice that I could give him is, is just you gotta do the same thing every single time. Don't keep trying to change it. People telling you to do this, and this. No, just do how you feel comfortable and do it every time.
Why do you think? Do you think it's kind of a like? Do you think Travis recruits guys that can't shoot free throw? Like, or are we overestimating the problem?
Nah, it's not like he goes recruit and say, I'm going to get him. He can't make free throws.
Well, no. I mean, more or less.
No, I know what you're saying.
My thought process is more or less that a program like SLU, while you're trying to rebuild it, you're better off trying to get a guy who struggles at free throws in high school that maybe another team is saying, like, we're not going to bring this guy in because we need a guy who can make free throws, and that's what we're going to, you know what I mean?
Nah, I don't think it's that, because at the end of the day, just for like Haas, because we already talked about, he do so much other stuff good. Like, right. It's like we can live with him missing free throws. We can for sure live with Hassan. We won a championship, even though Hassan shot terrible from the free throw line. So, I think it's not a thing where he's like, we need to make free throws. It's just more of a, just, I don't know. In a lot of cases, though, I will say in a lot of cases, it works out because Jordan going to get the offensive rebound. So Jordan, as long as Jordan's in the game and Hassan is shooting a free throw, I'm betting my money on Jordan getting the rebound. I'm betting my money on Jordan getting the rebound.
What is it about Jordan that makes him so effective at the offensive rebounding? And
he just relentless. That's just something like offensive rebounding is something like if y'all can remember my junior year, Jordan's freshman, we used to all fight for rebounds. Me, Hassan, and Jordan used to all fight for offensive rebounds, and DJ too. We used to all fight for offensive rebounds. So it's like I don't know, but he's just relentless, and he got a nose for the ball too. That's what people got to realize too. Like Jordan has a nose for the basketball, even not just rebounding, but steals too and deflections. Like he always led in steals and deflections and offensive rebounds because he just knows how to get to the ball. I think he works on it too. I don't want to, I think he works on that. Like I think he works on if he misses a shot here, I'm going to get his rebound.
It's uncanny how he gets to a rebound. It's insane. I've never seen anything like it. So you guys finish up that season. I think you played 2 games in the A-10 tournament. But going into that 18,
well, hold on.
19,
before we move on, I got one question
on.
I want to throw out there about your junior year, which I believe, if we've already established, I think that was Jordan's freshman year.
Yeah.
This is not a question that we've ever asked, and it's not a question I'm trying to get too particularly detailed on. But obviously, there was some off-the-court stuff with Jordan in that second semester or the second half of the season that caused him problems and he couldn't play. And I was curious from your aspect as an upperclassman, as a guy who had been through his own struggles, just that had stopped him from playing basketball, what kind of role you might have had in just talking to him and what kind of conversations about how to keep your head up and keep going through whatever it is you're dealing with.
Yeah, we were just trying to keep his head. Jordan's a strong-minded kid, though. And Jordan, another thing, like, that's the thing, like, with me and Roby being there, we was really able to, like, mentor Jordan, I feel like. And because he's a guy, he seeks guidance, too, though. He used to come to me and Roby and ask us stuff. And I think, and his family, too, they help. Like I said, he's a Saint, well, he's from the other side, but he's a St. Louis kid. And his family was there. So that was a thing I think that he had going for him, you know, going through that whole situation. His family was there by his side. We was there by his side, and everybody supported him. So it wasn't a thing where he felt like he was alienated or alone or anything. Like he had support from everybody that was around him.
That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. That is, I think Billiken fans will find that really interesting and really, really informative. And, but I'm noticing a pattern with the scheduling that Travis Ford has done. You guys go in and play, and we'll get to Virginia Tech in the NCAA tournament, but you guys play Virginia Tech the year before, you beat them. Just like this season that we're talking about now, your senior season, you guys go in and beat Seton Hall at their place. And then obviously we saw them beat us in the next season. But talk to me about that Seton Hall game and Deion Wiley leading the way, kind of his coming out party.
Yeah, it definitely was. And he was a lot of his family was at the game because it's not too far from where he was from. But Deion was like a guy that everybody believed in because he could really shoot the ball. He was going to bring something to the team that we didn't have that season, you know. But I think injuries hurt him the whole season. Injuries hurt Deion because I'm telling you, if Deion was healthy the whole season, I think we would have probably 5 more wins than we did for sure. I'd say, without a doubt, I feel like we would have 5 more wins with Deion being healthy for the full season. So I think that game was just a glimpse. And it was a couple other games where he had shown us where you see what we saw. You know, it's just hard to, and I can attest to it, it's just hard to play when your body is not cooperating with you, like, you know. So I think that game was huge for him. It was huge for us. I know it was a game we felt like we needed to win in a hostile environment, and he stepped up big.
What is it like having I mean, obviously you transferred and that's 3 years in a program still. But what is it like having a guy like Tremaine and a guy like Deion come in, kind of just a one year deal? What's it like trying to integrate them into the team and kind of the kind of team chemistry aspect of that?
I think it's the 5th-year transfer is harder than people think because people thinking, oh, this guy did so good and he's coming here like, but the hard part is like getting people to trust us, like getting Tremaine and Deion to trust us, like as not even talking about the coaches, but just us as players, like on the court, like knowing that we had his back through anything, you know. Because at first Tremaine was struggling, you know, because we seen Tremaine in practice every day, so we knew what he could do, like how he played the last 2 months of the season, 2 months of the season, he was doing that like since he stepped on campus. So we knew what Tremaine could do. It was just out on the court at the beginning of the season was like, okay, we still want you to do what you did at Drexel. It was just, let's all do it together. Let's do it together. Pick up, you know, we want to pick up where you leave off. You pick up where we leave off. So I think that's the hard part about any 5th-year transfer, even with Deion. Like when Deion was healthy, it was, okay, we got to make sure when Deion's in the game and he's healthy, okay, we got to find him. In transition, Hassan go screen for Deion. It was just things, just little stuff like that. People that, you know, the fan might not realize, like, it's tough things to do because we didn't do things like that for our last 2 seasons. We didn't have a shooter as good as Deion we did this season before, or we didn't have a point guard that could score the way Tremaine could score the past 2 seasons. So it was a thing where we trying to figure each other out in such short period of time. That's why I feel like going towards the end of the season, once Tremaine was able to really get comfortable knowing what coach wanted, knowing how they still get us involved and everything, he took off.
Speaking of Tremaine, we spoke with him, what, 2 weeks ago now, Colin?
Not even probably, but yeah.
Not even. And we talked about the Houston game and the shot clock. And he is convinced there was some shenanigans going on there. Give us your perspective on that absolute disaster of a shot clock.
Yeah, I think I can remember it was like they shut it off because Houston side, or they said that Houston side wouldn't pop up, so that mean they had to turn our side off too. I don't really remember too vividly, but yeah, the shot clock was weird because I think they was doing it at the table, and then like our bench would have to count down or something like I forget, but it was the shot clock was crazy. The shot clock situation was crazy.
And then it came back on their last possession. As a leader, though, how do you keep a team from sitting and wallowing in sort of self-pity when you have something so adverse go against you?
You just gotta move forward. It's like a lot of things that's like life though. That's what we used to like. When we were talking stuff, it's like you can't just sit around and mope. It's like, all right, well, we gotta make the best of it. Let's make the best of it and try to win this game.
I'm curious. My bad.
Well, and then afterwards, are there people bitching and moaning in the locker room about it, or
after the game, I don't think the locker room was more of a. It wasn't that. That's another game that I feel like that's one of them ones that was hard for me to swallow because we got what we wanted at the end of the game. Like I had a mid-range shot that and if people watch my career saying, "Lou, those shots didn't miss." Yeah. I really didn't miss, and I airballed it though. I airballed the shot that I got. We missed the free throw on purpose. Got our rebound. Couldn't have went no more perfect than it did. I caught the ball right where I wanted the ball, and missed it. And if I would have made it, I think we was down by 1, right? So we would have won the game. So that was another game that was. So nobody was mad. The shot clock thing wasn't a thing because it was like we at the end of the day we still had an opportunity to win the game.
We're coming up on a part in the season, and you're seeding your season. And because, like Zach said, we just talked with Tremaine not that long ago. I've been continuing to look over the schedule time and again, and there's, kind of obviously a rough patch towards the beginning of the year where you guys are still figuring it out. The consistency is not quite there. And then you hit a chunk right here in the middle. You had the Houston game. I believe Florida State was in there as well. And then you obviously lose a player. And you go into conference season, and it's just there's a lot that's happened and a lot of adversity you guys have already faced. And I think the question that hasn't been asked from me or Zach to anyone that was involved with that team is who, apart from Travis Ford, is helping to keep you guys together, and who is the most important in making sure that things are flowing every day at practice and there's good cohesion there?
The whole staff, to be honest, everybody from the whole staff. And the thing was like, it may be hard to believe, but we knew we were going to figure it out. Like we weren't, that's one thing I will say too, Coach Ford is good at. He doesn't really panic. Like he doesn't panic. He doesn't get too like low when things are going. I think we lost like 5 in a row or something like that, 6 in a row, 5 in a row at that point. But he approached every day the same, after every game the same. He didn't panic. Yeah, he yelled probably a little bit more after the games or, whatever, but he didn't like panic too much. He knew we were going to be fine. He knew it was going to take time for us to figure out because we had so many new players that season. We had so many new players, and then we had players drop, like you said, and then it was a lot of adversity, but we knew like once we got past that, we was going to be fine. And it wasn't a situation where as teammates, we had to like get people on board. Everybody was already on board. We already knew what each other could do. We already was like, just still trying to figure out each other out because we were new, but we didn't like doubt each other or anything like that.
You got to take on Obi Toppin as a junior, which most people would agree is probably a little bit easier than Obi Toppin as a senior. What did you see in his game, and what do you see in his game going forward in the pros? You've obviously been there.
Yeah. I think he's gonna be a good pro. I think he's gonna be the steal of the draft, to be honest with you, just because he got something that you can't teach, So imagine when the team gets him and is able to, teach him the different things that'll help his career. But his athleticism, his ability to score without them running any plays for him, he showed that he could shoot the ball his last year, shoot threes. And like I said, I think he'd be still a draft, to be honest.
So starting off conference, you had, I believe, 6 in a row that you guys won to start off conference. And that's coming off the heels of Cartier Gordon transferring out of off the team. And I was curious, not necessarily, I mean, if you have a take on the situation, then by all means, let us know what was kind of going on at that time or how you saw the situation, but then also how you then refocused again as a team after a little bit of a explosive moment. I say explosive for lack of a better word, but a moment that kind of ruptures the normal day-to-day operations of the team for a short period of time. And like I said, then you go and rattle off 6 wins. How does that happen? What was going on? And what did you feel like made that happen for you guys?
I think that's another support like Jalen. Like, he did what he felt was best for him. So you can never fault. Like, everybody can have their own thoughts, opinions on it, but you can never fault somebody for doing what they, felt like they was doing best for them and their family. So that was that. But I feel like, when he left, it wasn't like, oh man, everybody just put their head down and moped around the locker room. It was like, shit, we still gonna go out there and play. We still feel like we got enough to win. We still feel like we got enough players, we got enough talent to go out there and win games. And we eventually at the end of the day, we showed that we still were the best team in the A10 that year.
So I want to go through 3 losses because I want to set up the scene for Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
You guys lose to Richmond 84-81 at Chaffetz.
Mm-hmm.
You guys lose to Dayton on the second leg of that series, 70-62 at UD Arena. Always a tough place to play no matter what. Davidson has always been a thorn in our side, especially on the road. A 54-53 loss at Chaffetz Arena. And then St. Bonaventure, a loss on the last day of the season. Looking at when you looked at each game in Brooklyn and you looked back on those losses, how much do you think that helped going in, given that A, you know what to look at and what you did wrong, and B, kind of that it's hard to beat someone twice in a row mentality?
Yeah, well, at least me speak personally, that was my thing. I knew, and I was real confident is that nobody could beat us twice that season. Nobody in the A10 was going to be able to beat us twice, and nobody did. And I think that was a thing that I was looking at, and I was kind of preaching to the guys, like, there's no way that a team was that much better than us that they would be able to beat us twice in one season. So I guess you could say we got lucky by playing everybody that we already lost to, but it was just like a situation where, played Richmond, and that was a game at home. We only lost by 3 points, and we had a last-second shot. I think I had a last-second shot that went in and out from like half court or something like that. Lost by 3. Davidson, we lost at the free throw line. The story with Jordan was at the free throw line. Lost at the free throw. We could have won the game. Then Dayton, we ended up losing. I didn't play good at all that game, but that's what I'm saying. That was a game I didn't play good at Dayton, and then St. Bonnie was just that was a weird game. That was a weird game, a weird energy around the gym that day, I feel like. So we just knew once we got to Brooklyn, it was like we was looking how it could all map out, how it was looking, and we was like, okay, this actually could work in our favor by playing 4 games instead of getting that bye.
Yeah, you guys, I think we can excuse that loss at St. Bonaventure because you guys were probably worried whether your bus driver was going to be there when you finished the game.
Yeah.
Talk to me about, again, as a leader, because like I introed to start this interview, you really are probably, on the Mount Rushmore of leaders that has come through this program.
I appreciate that. That.
What do you kind of do in the wake of the Jordan Goodwin missing the free throw against Davidson? Did you need to do anything, or was he just mature beyond his years and kind of was able to put that aside?
No, I don't think nobody, as far as after the game or that day, that night, or the next day, would handle that any differently than he did. And I don't care who it is. It could be LeBron James. I feel like will still handle that the same way if it happened to him that way. So, like, as a competitor, as a basketball player, you know, you're gonna beat yourself up about something like that. You're definitely gonna beat yourself up. He did all we could do. For me, I felt like I'll say encouraging, giving words of encouragement right after, but after that, you just gotta let him, you know, just let him handle it how he wants to handle it. You know, that I guess that is a mature way, and he handled it the right way. He was on himself that night, the next day, but then once we got back to practice, it was like, all right, well, we can't even think about that. And Coach Ford did a good job of that too. I'm like, okay, you missed 2 free throws. Like, we all do it. Like, we've all missed the shots that could have won the games for us or whatever. That comes with being a top player on a good team, you know? So that was a thing where I just let Jordan handle that himself. And I feel like as a leader at that moment, I feel like that was the right thing to do.
I believe it was during this stretch of time as well. I mean, really probably most of conference season. I think you were dealing with a high ankle sprain or something of that nature, along with probably a slew of other injuries that come along with the wear and tear of a season. How did you deal with that? What was it like for you, and how hobbled did you feel like you really were versus, 100% for you?
Yeah, that was hard for me because it was, I think, what game was it? The end of the Butler game, I twisted my ankle bad, and I played against SIUC, and we lost to SIU, and I could barely run. Though I shouldn't have played probably that game, but as soon as that got better, then it was really more like the back of my foot, not really my Achilles, a little higher. It was just like so it was just I was just in a lot of pain. So it was things where I was just doing treatment as much as possible. You know, I had online class, so I was able to go do treatment as much as possible. And I had a walking boot from what game was that? From that conference we played. Davidson was our first loss of the conference, I think. So from the Davidson game on, I think I was in a boot for the rest of the season for the most part. Wow. For the most part, we just didn't show it or whatever. But it was just that kind of hurt me, I feel like, because I think my numbers started going down once that happened.
So I wanted to stick with that for a second, actually, because I did hear also, and I call it a rumor because it was just someone I was talking to that had covered you guys as well. But it sounded like during that conference season, it wasn't just you that was dealing with injuries. It sounded like a lot of you guys were dealing with injuries. And when you look at that kind of rough stretch of conference after starting out 6-0, it was not just, team trying to get on the same page or, playbook or whatever. It was that you guys were dealing with a lot of injuries. Is that kind of how you felt the struggles throughout conference went as well for you guys?
Yeah, for sure. That was another form of rushing that we had to fight. We had a lot of injuries that year. And then I feel like we still weren't playing a lot of people. I feel like we were still only going 8 deep because it was always like 2 people hurt at a time. Like, Dion was hurt a lot that season. I was hurt a lot that season. But I was hurt a lot that season. Tremaine missed a couple games that season. He was hurt. KC, Demarius, everybody was, not everybody, but it was like, I know us 4 or 5 people was hurt like majority of the season. So it was like we was always down a couple guys. So that was the tough part.
It's interesting you say Demarius Jacobs. I'm not trying to sidetrack too much from that season, but Demarius is a guy that we've not heard, I don't think, anyone talk about yet on this podcast. And I don't intend to speak for all of Billiken's fans when I say this, but I think especially myself was a little bit surprised by what we saw from him last year in terms of all of a sudden it was like there was this explosive ability to get up and throw a dunk down, or his shooting and his confidence in his shot had increased in dramatic fashion. Does that kind of the Demarius Jacobs you saw when he came in as a freshman, or was that kind of to you like, oh, where did this come from?
To be honest, like, honestly speaking, Demarius from my senior year, if you ask every player on that team, more than likely they'll tell you talent-wise, pure talent-wise, Demarius was probably top 2 on the team talent-wise that year for sure. Top 2 ability and talent-wise, Demarius was top 2 on that team. I feel like he could do things that not a lot of people on our team that year could do. Demarius is athletic, and I still feel like he hasn't come out of his shell yet. Because Demarius, he's a mild-mannered kind of guy. Like, he's not real super aggressive, or like just his whole demeanor. He's more laid back, and I feel like he still hasn't come out of his shell yet. But I feel like he will this year. But talent-wise, ability-wise, he was one of probably the most talented guys on that team, just because he could jump. He could jump just as high as anybody on the team. He could handle the ball. He could shoot. He had moves. So I think if you ask anybody on the team, they'll tell you the same thing.
I didn't hear the question, obviously, but
No, I just talked about Demarius Jacobs and
oh,
that was
yeah,
a
yeah.
surprising show from him this past season, because again, like I said, he was and he's part of this group of guys right now, along with Fred Thatch, another guy that I think suffered maybe through some injuries in conference season as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
But
yeah, Fred was good
I mean,
too.
you had a huge group of young guys come in as well there that it seemed like had I say huge because it felt like they did have an impact in some way or another and continue to have a future impact.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
What do you think? Do you think that his game is heavily relied upon being involved early, getting in the flow of the offense early, making a shot early, and it kind of flows from there, or do you think it's something else?
Talking about Demarius?
Yes.
I think his thing is confidence. Well, at least his freshman year, the year I played with him, I can't really speak too much from last year. I still talk to him a lot, but I wasn't there. So I know for my year, his thing was confidence, and he was hurt that year too a lot. So that kind of messes up a guy's confidence too. But his thing is confidence. He comes out, if he hits a shot, or it could be as small as gets an offensive rebound, gets a steal, or makes a shot or anything, then we know, okay, he's feeling it. He's feeling good today. We can expect him to play. You know what I'm saying? We can expect him to do something today. So I think last year, his sophomore last season, I think where it just came out more. So me watching him, see him, he makes a three or whatever, he gonna have a good game, because I know everybody knows Demarius can play. It's just all about confidence and him being aggressive.
Jumping back into the A10 tournament, talk to us about that game against Richmond, specifically Hassan French going up against Grant Golden.
Yeah. So to be honest with you, it was a thing where, and we let Hassan know that was a thing, and nobody was scared or would hold their tongue. Everybody knew, and we let Hassan know, like, he got the best of you the first game at St. Louis. He got the best of you. You can't let it happen again. And this is the biggest stage so far in the season, so this is the time to do it. And I think he got it. He did. He got big in the league that year. Other than Hassan, Grant Golden's probably the best big in the league. And there was some good bigs. I'm not trying to downgrade nobody else in the league, but he was probably, if I had to say, one of the best bigs in the league. So we let Hassan know, like, he got the best of you. You can't let it happen again.
We saw Tremaine Isabel kind of ramp up his game in that first one, and then really got going in the second game against Dayton. What was it about that matchup that really suited him, especially offensively?
I think, to be honest with you, for Tremaine in that tournament, it was like, even like the last few games of the regular season too, or the conference season, he wasn't playing up to his, like, to the outside he might have been playing, but for him, he wasn't playing that good. For him, and he'll tell you, like, he wasn't playing that good at the beginning of the season. And teams probably, they start, like, I don't want to say they were treating him like he couldn't play or anything like that, but they were probably not focused on him as much as they should have been on the scout. So, like, that gave him time. That gave him the ability to go out there and just play through his talent, because he was so super talented, and his confidence. He could play confident. Like, they didn't know, do I press up and take away the three, or do I back up so he can't get to the basket? So it was like, and he can do both. And he showed that tournament that he could do both. So I just felt bad for the defenders, because that's the Tremaine we knew. That's the Tremaine that we saw every day in practice, that, we felt like we knew once he would play like that, we would go far.
Let's talk about the Davidson game, because, I mean, you guys kicked the shit out of them, 23-point win. You had 24 points. To run us through that game, just from your perspective.
I think they didn't expect us to play that 1-3-1. I think we was doing it the whole tournament for the most part, kind of. We did it a little bit in Richmond, just a little bit, and then we put it on Dayton, like do spots throughout the game. Like we'd throw it in one time, we'd do a 1-3-1. But I think with Davidson, it just worked in our favor. It worked in our favor. We knew like only a couple guys wanted to handle the ball, so we got it out of their hands. They couldn't run that offense because it was hard I can lie, for us guarding Davidson. It was tough. Like the way we play defense, like our like the way our style of defensive play and what we did on defense, our rules, it was tough. We didn't match up good with Davidson going man. So going that 1-3-1, if it just worked in our favor.
It's interesting.
It got them out of rhythm. I feel like it got them out of rhythm.
It's interesting you bring up the change in defenses there, because that's, I think, something that was interesting last season, watching that, and certainly going back to your senior year as well, that Travis Ford does have this interest in being able to go to the 1-3-1 or going a straight man defense. Do you feel like switching between those at times is a bit, I don't want to say confusing, because it's not necessarily confusing, but it gets you out of a rhythm or it gets you out of a flow? Or do you feel like it's a really helpful tool for you guys to kind of give a team a different look and you feel more effective changing it up?
No, it's real helpful. It's real helpful because I know when I was there, we worked on it every day in practice. So we worked on playing 1-3-1 or pressing or playing man or playing zone. Like that was something that was an everyday thing. We just didn't pull it out until we felt like we needed to, because we were so confident in our man-to-man defense. We were so confident that we felt like, but it was a couple of teams where we felt like, okay, our rules defensively, what we do, our principles defensively don't really, it's going to be hard with them because they do a certain action a lot. So we knew, okay, when we go to them, we're going to start out in man, but then we could jump into that 1-3-1 because they may not know how to, you know what I'm saying? It may get them out of rhythm. Not us. It definitely wouldn't get us out of rhythm. Anything would get them out of rhythm.
I want to try something here that we've never done before. So Colin, bear with me, make a note of this time.
Sure.
And I want to play the final possession of the A-10 championship game. So we're going to see how this works. Because I've never done it, and we are going to see how it works. Actually, I've done it, but I've never done it like in the middle of this. So, okay. So we're going to start it. I believe this is the last possession. What is the what's kind of the what did they talk about that? What did Travis talk about in the timeout leading up to this play? There's 45 seconds left on the clock, 21 seconds on the shot clock.
I can't remember. I think we were trying to see. I think Stocker, he was playing good too. At the end of the game, he was making some big shots, and they was doing a floppy action, which is like the two bigs set a down screen for the two guards. And I think me and Fred was guarding the two guards. So we was trying to figure out, like, okay, are we going to just stay on our separate sides, or are we going to chase our mans that we're already guarding? So that was just something me and Fred was trying to figure out.
Okay. So let's go ahead and see what happens here.
So now, they're getting to that floppy action. No, just setting it up. There you go. That's where me and Fred, that just if you play it back a little bit, that's the part where that's what we was talking about in the huddle. What are we going to do when they do that action? That me and Fred, when we still kind of got mixed up on it.
Oh.
You see, because that was the tough part. Because the one guy was curling around and screening, so we should have just stayed on the same side. We shouldn't have switched. We shouldn't have stayed on the same side, but, it ended up working for us.
Oh, I never even pay attention to that either. It's funny. I didn't notice.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I appreciate that. That's big. Like it didn't even occur to me. I was so busy holding my breath that I don't think I paid attention.
So what are you saying to Fred there at the end of that? Because you grabbed him and we're kind of talking to him. Is that just trying to get on the same page again?
Yeah. That's what we were talking about. That's what we were talking about, because we didn't want to give them that shot that they missed it, but that was the shot we wasn't trying to give them. So it was we just got mixed up, and I was just trying to make sure, like, okay, bro, we got to lock in. We got to lock in even more because they get another possession. So,
Was this There was a play earlier in this sequence, I think, where the ball went out on Bonaventure. Nobody talked about it again. It went out off Bonaventure, and they never gave us the ball, and nobody ever
Oh,
mentioned
really?
it.
I don't remember it.
Yeah, I think he dribbled it off his foot, but I think they called it a
Oh.
tip off of us. But let's see if we can't. Okay, so it's all right.
What is this? The next play?
Yeah.
So
this
here,
is it.
I knew they were trying to give it to because Stockard is fouled out now, right? So
Yes.
I think Stockard's fouled out. So I was guarding Lofton because we knew like that's who wanted to. He didn't take the last shot, but he wanted to take the last shot. And when I was guarding him, I kind of hit the ball, and I wanted to go dive on it and try to really just get possession, but I didn't want to foul. So we just left it up to chance, and the guy was more open than we wanted him to be, but he missed it. And then this was just the fun part from there.
Now, talk about that right there. Talk about
that was fun.
Travis.
Coach Ford, it's surprising. Coach Ford came and jumped on us, but like that's his personality. That's why we love him because some coaches won't do that. Like, and Coach Ford is the guy that he's an emotional guy, and he showed it.
That's awesome. Thank you for running us through a little video session.
Yeah, that's new.
That's I just thought I'd try it, give it a go.
Yeah, we'll see how it looks when I cut it back together. Okay, there you
so
go.
yeah, I mean, what was it like? You've obviously, I think you're the only player on that team to have sat through a selection Sunday. Did anybody kind of pick your brain?
I think
about,
Dion did too. I think Dion did.
Did anybody pick either of your guys' brains about what to expect on selection Sunday? And
not really, because we were still amped and juiced from the win. So it was like, because we were at the hotel and we were leaving that day. So we literally watched it, and as soon as they picked us, we didn't even get to finish watching the selection show. We went straight to the airport. So we didn't care who we played. We didn't care about none of that. It was more just like we just won this championship in 4 games in 4 days. Like, so we were just just amped off of that, to be honest.
Yeah, that was the easiest 14-hour car ride I've ever had. So thank you for that. Leading up to the NCAA tournament game against Virginia Tech. Well, first of all, what was your reaction when you saw Virginia Tech, and was there any talk about what I mentioned earlier, and that you guys had played them already last season, and they might be out for revenge?
Yeah, as soon as we seen that, everybody just knew what it was going to be. Everybody knew it was okay. We looked at it as if we were them. Okay, we got to get them back. Similar like how when Butler beat us, and we knew that they had to come to Schaefer's the next season, and we knew how hard we was going to play because they embarrassed us last year. And Virginia Tech probably felt like we embarrassed them last year because I guess we weren't supposed to beat them because they were ranked high, but it was that type of situation. I feel like we knew we were going to get their best game for sure.
I want to talk about. Actually, let me rewind to the A10 semifinal because I forgot to mention this. Talk to me about what it meant to see Elliot Welmer get in the game at the end of the.
It was huge because, man, that's somebody that's been through a lot, with this basketball stuff. And basketball is a game that if you go to college, it's something that we all love, and it was kind of taken from him because of injuries, something that was out of his control. So that's always I love to see stuff like that because, man, I hate to see it, but I love to see it because and Elliot was a good player. So you never know how far Elliot could have got. He's 6'10", 6'11", that can shoot threes like at a high clip. So, I hate to see it on how his season ended up going out, but I love to see it because he was able to come to terms with it. And then him being out there, like, it was just like, it was something that everybody felt for him.
One of the cooler things that happened, in my opinion, is you and Tremaine were selected to represent the A10 at the 2019 Dos Equis 3x3U National Championship. Talk to me about how they contacted you or reached out to you, your decision to play, and then the experience.
Yeah, so they just reached out to us. They reached out to us individually and was like, we want to go out and play in the thing. And a couple guys that were playing messaged us like, "Oh, y'all gonna play in it?" And we was like, "Yeah, we're gonna play." So it was a good experience. And then going to the Final Four and being able to go to the Final Four. And I actually went to the game too. Well, I went to the Michigan State game. I went to the Michigan State Texas Tech game. So and it was fun. It was a great experience for me.
Did you get what was your guys' attitude going into the tournament? I know there was, some teams were kind of just there to just hang out. It might have been you guys. You guys didn't fare super well. Was
Yeah.
that kind of your guys' attitude to just kind of have fun? And
I think it was more of a we wanted to, but at the end of the day, it was like have fun, go see people that because we're seniors and stuff. So these are all people that we grew up playing with AAU against each other. So a lot of people knew each other, and then like I said, the Final Four was there. It was the Mall of America. We got to play inside the mall, so it was a thing where we took it serious for sure while we were playing. But at the end of the day, we knew it was an experience that everybody didn't get the chance to experience. So we made the best of it of our time there.
One of my favorite books is a book by Mark Titus, former Ohio State basketball player. Don't Put Me In, Coach, My Incredible NCAA Journey from the End of the Bench to the End of the Bench. Being a Columbus guy and being at the 3x3 and Mark Titus being one of the announcers. I was curious if you had any, if you knew who that was or if you kind of got to meet him or.
I knew of him, but I didn't know him, and I didn't get a chance to talk to him and stuff. But I knew, but I didn't really know him though. Like I don't think met him or anything like that. But I knew of him.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious. He's a cool dude. I got to meet him in Columbus when the Billikens were there. So it was a great book too. If anybody is looking for a book. After that, you went undrafted. Actually, what was kind of your attitude going into the draft, and then when you did go undrafted, were you disappointed, surprised?
No, we wasn't really surprised. Like the thing is, I think I did 12 workouts. That going in before the draft. Like so, they had each team, does all their pre-draft workouts, bring guys in. I think I did like 12 workouts, which is a lot. Which was a lot.
Teams?
I worked out with. I don't want to miss nobody, but I worked out with the Lakers. I worked out with the Nuggets, Lakers, San Antonio, Houston, Boston, Cleveland, Atlanta, Toronto, New Orleans, obviously. Who else did I work out with? I think it was a couple more West Coast teams. I can't remember. It was because it was a lot. The Knicks. I worked out with the Knicks. I worked out with. I forget. I can't think of the last few teams.
You played in the summer league, right? As well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this was all before summer league because the summer league was after the draft. So on draft night, we knew. So I signed a exhibit. It's called an Exhibit 10 deal, but it's basically a free agent deal. So I knew it was going to be between Atlanta and New Orleans. My agent was in contact with them. It was going to be between Atlanta and New Orleans to sign the deal, the type of deal that I signed with them, to being able to go to training camp and playing preseason games and stuff with them. So we just felt like it was before the Anthony Davis trade, so we felt the best situation was going to be to go to New Orleans.
Two very nice party cities.
Yeah.
End up in. Did you get to play against Tremaine in the summer league? I know he played with the Clippers.
Nope, I didn't get to play. But I see him. I got to see him. Went out to eat and stuff.
How did you have fun in Vegas?
Yeah, it was fun. It was good. We seen Coach Ford and Little Ford Stewing. He was there, so we all went out to eat.
I'm curious that you brought up Travis because obviously with him having Coach Marcus Smart, who obviously went on and played in Boston, and I'm sure that if I actually had like a list in front of me, there's more guys that have. But what kind of influence does he have on you trying to find a place for yourself in the next level of basketball, whether it's the NBA or overseas, wherever?
Yeah, well, just the way he played, how hard he played, that's something that I take from Marcus. He plays like it's his last game every time he steps on the court. So I think that's something not just me, anybody that's maybe watching this or anybody that watches basketball could see like that was his way into the league and he's embraced it 100%, 110%. So that's why he's making the money and having the success that he has.
You played in the basketball tournament. How was how was the bubble, man? Tell us all about the bubble.
It was different. It was good because I really wasn't going to play in it, but it happened to be in Columbus, so I'm right down the street, literally 10 minutes, if that. So it was in Columbus. That was a good thing, and it was a good experience. It was different. It was definitely different, but it was a good experience, man. It was a good experience. I would do it again.
How did you get contacted to go play for the Big Ten?
So first Vito Brown was, because that's somebody. Vito Brown, I've been to Vito since I was young. He was asking me to play with his team, and then Dan Dockage was Dockage was hitting me up, asking me to play, and then Nick Ward. So it was kind of a thing, like the team was kind of recruiting me. It's like a recruiting thing. They was recruiting me to come play with them.
Any funny stories from inside the TBT bubble? Anything weird happen or?
Nah, nothing weird. Nothing weird happened. It was cool. It was laid back. We couldn't leave though. That was the biggest thing. We couldn't leave. We couldn't go to the store or anything. Like they fed us and stuff like that. And if you order some food, like if you Uber Eats or something like that, they would have to come drop it off on the table. You have to wait. Then maybe the security guard would bring the food from the table inside to you. Then you had to go to your room. You couldn't interact with no players from any other teams. So everybody had we all had like one of the big presidential suites was everybody had a team room. So our team room was the room we could like all go to. We weren't supposed to go to each other's rooms, bedrooms and stuff like that. Like it was real like intense. Like you couldn't do a lot of things.
That's how long were you in it total?
I think 10 days or two. No, it was more than 10 days because we were there for. No, I think we ended up being there for like 10 or 12 days, something like that. I can't remember.
And you guys won the first game,
Yeah, we won the first game. We lost the second.
I watched the end of that one. Yeah. What do you got going on now, Javon?
Now just waiting on training camp, trying to, my agent, we just found out that the season is going to start the 22nd. The NBA season is going to start the 22nd.
Breaking news, guys. Breaking news. Javon Bess leaks that. No, I'm just kidding.
So, yeah, we just found out the season started the 22nd. So we're just trying to, my agent's trying to figure out. Free agency doesn't start until after the draft. The draft's not till the 18th. So it's still a lot of waiting around just to seeing if I'm going to go to training camp with a team, I'm going to go training camp back with New Orleans or not, or a different team. Like, that's where we at right now, just waiting and seeing.
If you have you looked overseas at all, or are you kind of just
putting not really. We haven't really went that. Me and my agent, we haven't really looked that route yet. So right now we just seeing trying to focus on getting to a training camp and having a chance to make a team, because getting a training camp is the first step making a team. You can't make a team if you're not there. So that's what we're doing right now.
Give me a good little Ford story. We had him on the podcast. He's a good friend of the show now. Give us a Ford Stewart story, because I don't think we hear much about him.
Man, I know he got a lot of shoes. He got more shoes than anybody.
We talked about that.
But the thing too is, Lil Ford, I hope he watching this or something, or y'all tell him, because he owes me a painting. He told me we win the A10 championship. I didn't know he could draw and stuff like that. And I seen him post something that he drew, and he owes me a painting. So
he can paint.
I hope he. Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm gonna have to hit him up too. I'll make sure you get first dibs.
Really, really good though. Like, yeah. So Ford owes me a painting.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. Colin, you got a player you want to know something about? Because
well, I just wanted to get back to we try to do this, but are there any good Travis Ford stories? I know that this is a coach that we see from the outside looking in, and you guys can't get as open about it as some of the Majerus era players have been about Rick, but we would be curious if there's any funny stories about Travis Ford that you can let us know.
Man, I'm trying to Coach Ford, man, there's so many stories, but I can't pinpoint one.
Anything
one,
like kind of hanging around the hotel, on the road, anything like he would do quirky or?
No, because when we went on the road and stuff, it was more like serious. He was serious. I'm trying to think of like a funny one. It was more serious. He was real focused on the road and stuff. But Coach Ford is just like, y'all see some of the videos the page posts when he'll start dancing after the games in the locker room or something like that. Like that's some of the funnier Coach Ford moments for sure.
Did you see the skateboarding video?
Oh
The
yeah, when he
ocean
fell off.
spray.
Yeah, I see that. I see that.
What'd you think?
Yeah, I see that. That was fun. That was Coach Ford though. That's him. Like Coach Ford. That's him.
What assistant coach do you think you kind of meshed the best with? Which one were you closest to?
I probably was closest to Coach Bailey, but I definitely was still close with Coach Tate and Coach Van. Like I was really close with all our assistant coaches. I could go to my assistant coaches about anything, but Coach Bailey was my guy though. Coach Bailey was my guy for sure, man. I hate to see him leave, but he did what he felt was best. But he that year going into my senior year, just the progress I made just in my game as a whole, like I gotta contribute that to him. I gotta contribute that to Coach Bailey, man, because he was like I was working out early in the morning and he was in there with me, like nonstop. So that's somebody that I feel like I always will have to give him his credit as far as my game, taking it to the next level. Having opportunities that I've had so far, I have to give him credit.
Reflecting on your time in the city of St. Louis, what landmark or restaurant, bar, maybe even a park, anything like that? What was your favorite thing outside of basketball about the city of St. Louis?
Lennox.
Lennox.
Lennox. I just gotta say that. Like, I ain't gonna say that was my favorite part of St. Louis, but Lennox was like our second home as a team. Like Lennox was just a good time for us. Like they closed Lennox too, I think, but
yeah,
Lennox was a good time for us, man. Lennox was a real good time. We had some fun moments in Lennox for sure, man. That was a place where we know we was good and we could just go to Lennox and it just be a good night.
Yeah, no, we had those. We had Lennox nights back when I was at SLU too. We had Laclede's nights back in the day too. So we like to wax sentimental about these bars.
Yeah. As far as food though, other restaurants, like I liked we used to go to a place called Nephews that's down by Busch Stadium. We used to go to Nephews a lot. And but I like the Loop. Salt and Smoke was probably my favorite barbecue place. It was Salt and Smoke. I like the Kings. Their wings was good. I actually ate at a lot of places there in St. Louis. I ate at a lot of good places. They got a lot of good food in St. Louis. I'll tell you that. Their food is good. It's real good.
Well, I think, Colin, do you got anything? I mean, I
kind of
sped through that. I feel
like the first half that I'm trying to recall. No, I can't think of anything. I feel like I had more written down, but I'm looking over most of it here as you're talking. Okay, I did have one. Here we are. So right now, obviously, if you've been paying attention to this team this past offseason, apart from coronavirus obviously shutting down the entire world, we heard about Jordan Goodwin and Hassan French both declaring for the draft. I believe it's declaring, but then ended up coming back to SLU. So obviously those are two guys that are very interested in trying to move on and play at the next level as you are. We also have Javonte Perkins, who I don't know that he declared or didn't declare, but obviously has some specs.
And he is elite.
He has some specs as far as going to the NBA as well. What do you think about all three of those guys, and what do you think they're going to have to do for themselves to kind of make them most, I don't know, attractive to teams in terms of drafting?
I think they got to be themselves. Dude got them to this point, Jordan being the animal, the dog that he is, being the best rebounding guard in the country for the past 2 years. Do it again, being able to run a team, improve his jump shot, of course, improve his handle, improve all the things they need to improve, but being himself, being that dog that nobody can keep him off the glass. Like I said, nobody can keep him off the glass, and he's a great defender. His son just being a great rebounder, shot blocker. I think He's St. Louis, right? He's all-time leader in blocks or something like that.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Being that guy, being like I said, and Javonte being able to score the ball. Like I say, I just think it's doing what got them to this point. You know, I think they all have got better each year, and I think Javonte is a special, super special player. But I just think for them to, you know, really get that shot at the next level, they got to just do what got them to this point and just keep being themselves.
I'll let you kind of just freestyle about your time at SLU and the fans and Coach Ford and the coaching staff in general and the general SLU community. I'll just let you kind of go off and, you know, kind of tell everyone what, you know, it meant to you.
Yeah, no, it meant a lot to me, man. Like I said, like I just felt like the opportunities that I had leaving SLU, basketball, and then just in life, like I don't think it would have been the same if I was anywhere else. So I feel like I told Coach Ford that, like, the reason I am is because of me going to St. Louis. Like, it was no regrets. I feel like I did what I was supposed to do down there, and like I told him and I told Chris May when I was on my official visit, like, I want to bring a championship to St. Louis. I want to win a championship. So, and I was able to accomplish that. So I feel like I did what I wanted to do there. I feel like it's like, even now, like if Corona wouldn't have happened and this crazy stuff happened, and I would be there still working out right now. Because even last summer, before I was going to when I was in New Orleans going to training camp, before I went down there, I was in St. Louis working out every day. So that's something. And next summer, if everything goes back normal, I'll probably be back in St. Louis. So that's a place that I can call home, you know. And I feel like I said, man, that's one of the best decisions in life that I made was going to St. Louis.
The ones that hate me the most look just like me. You tell me what that means. Make a slick comment and see what that brings. I seen it go down, we can reenact things. Extreme like BMX sing.